Her entire life, Carolina was treated as the useless disgrace of a legendary ducal family. Her older sister possessed powerful holy magic. Everyone believed she would become the next saint, and Carolina was blamed for their mother's death. Then, without warning, Carolina is chosen as a sacrificial bride for the Empire's most feared warrior, a ruthless prince known for slaughtering anyone who stands in its way. Expecting a cruel and miserable future, she leaves everything behind without resistance. But the so-called bloodthirsty prince is nothing like the monster she imagined, and when their journey is attacked, Carolina awakens a mysterious power that should be impossible for someone with no magic. The girl everyone called worthless may have been the true miracle all along, and it'd be a miracle for me if you subscribed. That way I can keep covering stories like these, please, or else I'm worthless. No, seriously though, subscribe and let's get into it. A young girl frantically chases trying to keep up with her big sister. The young girl trips and the big sister comes back to say, "My goodness, you're such a klutz." Our heroine, Carolina Sanchez, awakens, gasping from her nightmare. The Sanchez family is the only doll house in the Kingdom of Celestia, and their house name has decorated the kingdom's history. At one point producing the strongest knight, and at another the prime minister to uphold the nation. No matter the era, the Duke of House Sanchez has been the beacon of hope to the country. And to this glorious house, two girls were born. Unlike her brilliant sister, Flora, Carolina was ordinary and possessed no special talents, a considered disgrace to the Sanchez name. Despite all the knights sacrificed, Carolina could never reach Flora's abilities. As the Duke's second daughter, she's long wished for one thing, a single talent she could be proud of. The barroom was lively and full of guests. The people couldn't help but comment on Flora, looking as beautiful as ever today. Carolina stood alone with a somber look, feeling inadequate as always, then spotted a blonde woman injured, her partner saying she seemed to trip while dancing. Her mother was concerned about her bruised face, another man calling for a doctor. However, Flora said that would not be necessary, she'd healed the bruise. Flora told them not to fret, and a single prayer made light emanate from her, making the wound vanish. The mother and daughter were joyous and relief, and with everyone witnessing Flora's holy magic, all bets were on with her winning the next saintly trials with ease. Saint is a title specific to the Kingdom of Celestia, bestowed upon she who possesses exceptional holy magic. As everyone said, Carolina also felt the next saint would surely be Flora. A girl complimented Flora while also downplaying Carolina, but Flora would politely ask them to refrain from teasing her little sister so much. She told them Carolina was very sensitive. The girls began to feel bad, but it was all right. Flora told them they'd all apologize to her together. The two randoms bowed, apologizing, saying sorry for their rudeness, and Flora as well. She just wanted Carolina to forgive them. With a saddened face, Carolina did just that, and Flora was pleased everyone made up. But Flora would whisper, "It must hurt to hear the truth, doesn't it?" right into Carolina's ear. Bruh. She went on about how Carolina was House Sanchez's only disgrace, then laughed in front of everyone while thanking Carolina for taking on the supporting role. Once again, Flora's popularity has increased because of it. Oh no. On the carriage ride out, Flora scolded Carolina, asking about the look on her face. Carolina meekly replied, "Nothing in particular," and Flora nagged on that if their father didn't have important business, she wouldn't even be sharing a carriage with her. But since this was the only one at their disposal, she had no choice but to let Carolina ride along with her. She told Carolina a disgrace like her should be grateful to even be allowed to share the same space as the saint-to-be. With the silence, now Flora was complaining and telling Carolina to say something, asking her if disgraces know nothing of manners around their betters. Ben went on to say Carolina wasn't like the rest of them. Her hair wasn't like Flora's or their father's, not even like their mother's proud raven locks. It was grey as if covered in dust. Flora blew on her hair to emphasize the dust effect. Flora is an example of a person who can't be human. Flora pointed out Carolina's blood-red eyes, saying they were nothing like their mother's pale pink, nor did they bear resemblance to their father's green eyes. She almost wondered if Carolina was really her little sister. Some say Carolina was a spitting image of the late Duchess, but Flora was sure they were just being sarcastic. There's no way a disgrace like her could be anything like their beautiful mother. Everything Flora said was like a knife to Carolina's chest. In her heart, she pleaded for Flora to stop, to not say another word. She told Flora if she's done her wrong in any way, she'd apologize, but Flora just snapped her fan and began to speak the words Carolina couldn't bear to hear. Carolina never got to meet their late mother, Duchess Karen Sanchez, because she passed away from illness shortly after giving birth to her. The childbirth was undoubtedly the cause of her decline. If she'd never been born, their mother might still be alive. Flora continued, saying their mother was a wonderful person, kind and compassionate, as if she were the Holy Mother. That's why Flora would never forgive Carolina for killing her and refused to accept her as a spitting image. She rejected Carolina with every fiber of her being. Exiting the carriage, the butler told Carolina her father was waiting for her in the drawing room. There, she graced herself before His Majesty, King Nathan, sitting beside her father, but the king shushed her. He was here on private business. They exchanged pleasantries, and Nathan asked if she had a lover or partner of any kind at the moment. Her father asked him to leave out the small talk and get to business, but Nathan assured him this wasn't small talk. He stood up and began to explain why he was here. The deadline for formalizing their broad-based alliance was approaching fast. Unfortunately, one of their own has slighted a duchess of the Malcosian Empire. Said duchess happened to be the reigning emperor's younger sister, so they wouldn't take that lying down. Under normal circumstances, Nathan would be facing some sort of sanction, but an envoy from the empire arrived just the other day and presented a proposal. They were to provide a wife to the second prince of the Malcosian Empire. Carolina knew the second prince of Malcosius was Edward Ruby Martinez, the founder and commander of the Piebborn Knights, exceptionally gifted with both sword and magic. He's distinguished himself through countless battles and made a name for his order throughout the world. However, he's never been hailed a hero because he was cruel. He'd strike down anyone, even women and children. He's feared by the people as a man devoid of blood and tears. They call him the bloodthirsty prince. Nathan was troubled having to choose a bride for him soon, and he had to select a noble woman of the highest status within their country. His own daughter was already promised to someone, and the nation could not afford to send Flora because she was the candidate as the next saint. Carolina resigned herself to this fate. Many could replace her, but no one could replace Flora, and so Nathan made one final request to her for the sake of their country. He asked that she marry the second prince of the Malcosian Empire. She accepted no resistance whatsoever. After the king left, Carolina's father came up to her asking if she had any doubts about marrying Prince Edward. If so, he'd persuade the king to scrap this plan. She answered, this country would come to ruin if she refused, and he cut her off. He knew that, but he could not stand by and watch as his daughter married off to another country like a sacrificial offering. She was his darling little girl. She couldn't believe what he was saying. She always thought she was unloved since she was a disgrace, unworthy of anything. Her father said, that's ridiculous, and asked, who said that, embracing her closely. She was so happy, though, accepting this marriage without reservation. If this would serve the kingdom of Celestia and she could be of use to their house, it would be the greatest honor. He smiled, thinking she was just like her mother in that respect. She was surprised as he went on to say she was just like Karen, the way she was so hard on herself, yet kind to others, the way she never spared any effort. He thought she was her spitting image. Carolina asked to hear more about her mother, and they talked about her all through the night, about how she, with persistent effort, was able to beat him in chess once, about how delicious the late-night snacks she secretly made were, about how hardworking and serious she was. Yet on occasion she would prank him and give him a hard time, how she loved going out to pick flowers with the floor, and the fact that right up to the very moment of her death, she never once harbored resentment toward anyone, as if showing off a precious treasure. He carefully conveyed his memories of her with each and every word. Iris, a maid, would stop outside overhearing their giggling. She then went to Flora and reported what she heard about Carolina. Visiting Karen's grave on another day with her father, Carolina took notice of the bouquet he was holding. Blue hyacinths meant unchanging love and white meant modest love. Despite how he seemed, her father was surprisingly romantic. They kneel and he said, Karen, it's been almost 16 years since you left this world, and yet I still can't get used to a life without you. When it dawns on me, I find myself looking for traces of you. Carolina looked at him in surprise. She spoke next. It's been a while, Mother. Thanks to the resilience you passed on to me in birth, I'm doing great. Being healthy is my only merit, but I'm actually getting married. Tomorrow, I depart for the Malcosian Empire. Mother, I believe today will be the last I'm able to visit your grave, so please allow me to ask you one final thing. Mother, are you glad you gave birth to me? Her father was taken aback by that question, but she continued, The nobles of the Kingdom of Celestia call me the Sanchez family disgrace. I lack brilliance of mind and any talent whatsoever, and to make matters worse, I was the cause of your demise, mother." She wept, asking, "Have you ever wished that you never gave birth to an embarrassment like me?" Her father said that was enough, and Carolina apologized. But that said, she had no regrets herself. A light breeze blew, and she told her mother she wouldn't run from her fate any longer. While packing her things that evening, Flora burst into her room, saying she heard the news. Carolina ignored her sister's taunts about how she was being married as a sacrificial offering, and her saying no matter where she went, no one, not even a bloodthirsty prince, would ever love a disgrace like her. A relief to Carolina, in a way, because she'd never have to see Flora again. Carolina wept with smiles at her exit carriage, thanking her father for everything, all while Flores schooled, watching them from the window above. The Duke embraced his daughter.